Hey, what's up guys? I do a lot of these Airbnb and VRBO rentals, and if you guys are a contractor or even a homeowner trying to do a little DIY accent wall, or in this case I'm building kind of like a mantle or like a fireplace wall, I'm going to show you guys the best way to achieve that today. So in this situation I have an electric fireplace and I'm in a commercial building. So I have metal studs and I don't have the option of recessing the metal fireplace into the wall and putting the slats on the wall. So what I've done is I've built this out 5.5 inches off the wall, just with 2x4s. So I've essentially just put a 2x4 to the wall, and then I put just a 2x4 on the flat behind that framing to bump it out just a little further. And I bring it out a little further than the thickness of those flush mount electric fireplaces, because a lot of times the plug falls right behind the fireplace, as I have in this situation. And when you go to plug your fireplace in, you'll end up having to either cut your cord and take out your recep and do a hot wire, or find a different way to achieve it, because the plug's going to hold it off the wall. So I just built it off of the wall a little bit, anticipating that plug being behind the fireplace, and I just gave it an extra 1/2 inch all the way around the perimeter from the rough end of the actual fireplace. Now with the fluted walls, what I've done is they do come in panels that are 3/8 inch thick, but if you're framing vertical, there's going to be nowhere to nail it off. So I've just got 3/8 plywood, which I think is the thinnest I would personally go. And I'm going to glue with liquid nail these slat panels onto the wall. And then they pretty much just overlap like shiplap. So I'll show you guys when I get a piece out, but there's a little overlap that makes it look seamless at the end. And it's all prefab for you. It used to be you had to rip down 1x2s and then paint the whole wall black and then space them yourself, and it's hard to get it perfect. These new products that they came out with really take all the effort out of it. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do the front first. So guys, I'm going to start with the front first, and my thought process is if I put the front flush with this outside edge, when I put the inside, you're going to have a raw edge here on the front. But I'm going to get a board as a piece of trim and run it straight up to picture frame it in. I've got some 1x4 white oak that's going to perfectly match these slats. Now, if you're looking for more of like a seamless install, you could attempt to miter these outside corners, but the chances that you're going to land on the edge on both sides perfectly, you really have to have all the material on site and build it perfectly to do that mitered edge. I think this is a good way to go about it. You could also put a piece on the sides and maybe not go as large and just put like a little piece of scribe molding or something there. But I'm trying to make this look intentional and have some purpose. And a 1x4 is going to have a nice precedent on this whole wall. It's going to really just tie the whole thing together. So let's get to cutting some panels. Okay guys, so this is the material that I'm going to be going with for this install. I made sure that I got 8-foot lengths. If you go online, 90% of the websites that you're going to find come in 4-foot or smaller lengths. And you have to put seams all the way up on the wall. And if you're doing an accent wall, I try to eliminate as many seams as possible. In this situation now, there will be no visible seams, because as you see right here where this piece ends, you have like the little black on this side. So this overlaps like shiplap or like a TNG, and it'll give you the same reveal in between the whole way through, and you won't be able to tell where a piece starts or ends. So my advice would be to find a company. This is Masasi, M-A-S-I-S-A, fluted accent wall, wood grain, and it's a white oak. This stuff is not cheap. I want to say that each pack was about 160 bucks, 150, 160 bucks. So for this little tiny area, I'm in it just for this material around $500-600, and then I spent 130 on two 11-foot sticks of white oak, and I had to frame it. So it adds up really quick. So just keep that in mind if you're going with something like this. It isn't cheap. If there was ever a time to measure twice and cut once, this is the time. So my measurement is 95 7/16. Now let me tell you guys something. This actually comes in 98-inch pieces, so that's nice. If you're a little bit over 8 foot, it's got you covered. Measured twice. Just gotta be, these things are expensive. They're expensive. You don't want to miscut them. Here's my my first piece that's gonna go up. And there's a couple things you wanna do on the first piece. For one, you wanna make sure that the part that you're overlapping is going to the right, or whichever way you're working, you wanna make sure you're overlapping and not underlapping. So my next piece will overlap this black lip, and then I can just work it from there. The second thing you wanna do is you wanna make sure that the first piece is plumb. So I'm gonna grab a level before I install this piece and make sure it's plumb before I nail it in. And I just liquid nail the back of these, so I'm gonna put like a few dabs of liquid nail behind it, and then I'm gonna pin nail it. I don't wanna see the nails at all, and my thought process is that liquid nail, that is good stuff, man. When it dries, it's not going anywhere, and honestly, the pin nails hold pretty good anyway. You could probably get away with a brad nail shooting into the felt. I'll put a couple in it just to see, like where it won't be seen really, but I'd personally rather shoot it with a pin nailer. So for my application, I'm just gonna be using a heavy duty liquid nails. And I'm not gonna go crazy gluing it. I'm just gonna put some dots all the way up, maybe like every 12 inches or something like that, make it like a little ball. This stuff is so fragile, I don't even like to lay it on the face. Don't slide it on the ground. I already noticed that this stuff will chip. Let's see. Make sure the glue mashes and bites really good. Plumb it up. I think it's perfectly plumb already. So I'm going to be using a DeWalt 23 gauge pin nailer, very tiny, like a hypodermic needle. I've got 1 3/8 nails in there. Really don't even need that. You probably could do 1 inch on this, but I got nothing behind it, so I'm not worried about it. Gonna pin one at the top, make sure that we're staying plumb. That is looking pretty damn good. That thing's not going anywhere, just with a 23. You can see that this edge will overlap the other edge. See how it makes kind of like a L? And then you've got the bigger black here. So that's what I was talking about. So all you're gonna do is butt it right to it. And you can see it gives you that perfect gap the whole way. Taylor seems to be doing a really good job holding it in place. I'll go ahead and put a brad nail in it, just so you can get an idea of what it would look like if you only got a brad gun. And we need some nails. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and put a brad nail in it, because I know not everybody's going to have a pin nailer, and you might be wondering how's it going to look. So where it's going to be overlapped, I'll go ahead and put a nail in it for you and answer your curiosity. So I just put a 1 inch, it's just a 1 inch 18 gauge brad. This stuff is thin, it's a 1/4 inch. So I'm gonna put one in it. You can definitely see the hole more than the pin. The pin you can't even see. So there, we're right there. There's your brad nail. And then I'm gonna show you with the pin. I'll put a pin right below it. So there's your brad, right? Let's see. And then you see the pin. Very tiny. So for me, I think the pin is better. Harder to find. Another piece of advice I could give you would be to grab a scrap piece of your material and butt it as it's going to sit. Because as you can see, it overlaps and you're going to lose, looks like 3/16 to 1/4 of an inch. There's a couple ways to go about it. You can mark where that ends and measure off of that line, or you can grab your tape, and while it's up there, you can measure off the lip and get your measurements. Let me just give you guys one piece of advice. I just sat that on the bucket and look how it chipped that. Now it doesn't matter for me because the fireplace is gonna has like a 2-inch flange on it, but that could be very that could be a problem if you didn't have something covering it. So just, it's delicate, guys. It's just like a little lamination, and it's definitely delicate. Okay, so top, when I'm measuring this, I always measure, there's a hole where your face plates mount. I'm gonna measure right to the top of that because this is a recess box, but most of your receptacles have little ears on them and you want them to catch whatever material you're notching out. So try and leave it so it catches the tops of those. In my situation, I'm at 35 5/8 to 39 1/4. And then same thing, I'm going to do this right here. And I'm just going to measure flush to the outside of my box off of the lip. So I'm at 7/8 to 3. Cut really smooth with the table saw. Probably just the direction of the blade. Much better than the circular saw. So I've made my rip for the side, and what I've done is I've saved the lip to overlap the outside, and I've found that if you wanted to get away without the picture frame, you really don't even need a miter. Look how clean that would finish. So that works really well on this end, and with proper planning, it probably could have worked on the other end, but I didn't have the material on site. But I do think that looks pretty cool.